Today's video is brought to you by Audible. Get your free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/magstv or click the link in the video description down below. G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to World of Warships with Mags. Today we're going to be taking a look at a subscriber replay. Today's replay was sent in by a subscriber by the name of Sind, and he is taking out the Russian Tier 5 destroyer Okhotnik. Now, the Okhotnik class is actually relatively interesting to talk about, as while it is considered to be a destroyer in World of Warships, and later in its life it was reclassified one, it didn't actually start as a destroyer class. The original design for the class was considered too large to be a destroyer originally, and it was actually classified as a torpedo cruiser. The reclassification took place in 1907, 2 years after the 4 ships of the class were originally launched. Following the reclassification, all 4 members of the class did serve during World War I, but sadly Okhotnik herself, the lead ship for the class, did not survive the war. She struck a mine in 1917 and sunk with a loss of 52 hands. Only one of the class, the Sibursky Strelok, would actually survive to see World War II, with the remaining 2 ships of the class being scrapped in the mid-1920s. In World of Warships, of course, the Okhotnik is represented as a Tier 5 premium Russian destroyer, and it is one hell of a gunboat, as Sind is about to show us. So what we've got here is a Tier 5 ship in a Tier 6 battle on Big Race. Sind has just come around the top of the northeastern island Pop Smoke and is beginning to shell the ships that are attempting to approach up this side to get around on his team's flank. Already 2 fires on target, and we're up to 16,802 damage already, so you can see how quickly this little Russian gunboat can put out the pain. Another volley into Congo. There is another couple of thousand damage on top of what we've already got. Congo, of course, being down to 8.3 kilometers, is well within maximum range at this point. In fact, so close that this could almost be considered knife fighting range. Almost within secondary range as well, but obscured by the smoke. Sind is still invisible to Congo, so she's continuing to engage off to the right. And she's had another fire lit on her decks at this point. She is burning away quite well. Looks like 2 sections actually. Fire in the forward section, fire in the mid section of the ship. 27,464, 28,223 damage, and the fires are still ticking up and burning away. Another volley in. The rate of fire on this ship is absolutely fantastic. Sind continuing to pour the damage on, another 2 shots in, and we're almost out of health. The fire has done its toll. Congo has nearly burnt down, and there she goes. 31,377 damage at this point, and we're only about 3.5 minutes into the match from start. At this point, Sind is still yet to have a single shot fired in his direction, and he's already picked out his next target. As you can see, the sheer volume of damage that this ship can actually put out is quite mind-boggling. What you're looking at here is 7 130mm single cannon turrets mounted up the length of the ship, with a 10-second reload on each gun. That's 6 rounds per minute per gun, or 42 shells every 60 seconds at a target. Izoyaslav's torpedoes move past the front of the ship. It looks like they're actually aimed at the ship we have on the border, a cruiser off to our left-hand side. Sind continuing to pound the target hard here with HE. More hits on target. And then we have an incapacitation. Looks like the steering gear was taken out. However, the destroyer is continuing through a turn. Looks like Ranger Spec, the captain for that particular ship with Last Stand, which is actually an ideal pick for a destroyer. Continuing to put HE on, fire is still burning in the nose. That's how we know the repair hadn't been used, and there we go, the destroyer has been eliminated. So that's one of the enemy team's 2 destroyers eliminated. That means both teams are now down to 1 each, and by taking down that destroyer, he's not only reduced the threat to his team overall, but also the threat to himself. Other destroyers, specifically those that have extremely good guns, are actually one of the most dangerous things you can encounter when driving this kind of gunship destroyer. However, Sind is not done yet. He's still got a full load of health, his guns are reloaded, and he's looking for fresh targets, and sure enough, he's heading straight towards the enemy cap zone. At this moment, his eyes seem to be locked on the Duguay-Tois, which seems to be AFK at this point, but free damage is free damage. 1 volley off on the target, and fire lights up on that hit. But unfortunately for Sind, not quite enough to take the kill. 2nd volley comes in, and the Duguay-Tois takes its ride out of this match. So, moving on to the next target. And there is absolutely nothing like a big battleship with a big health pool if you're looking to do a lot of damage in a match, and the Koenig is a very, very nice target. Currently the Koenig seems to be more concerned about the cruiser heading down the wall of the map on the DE line. Maybe you should have been paying more attention, because there's another fire on his deck from Sind, and there is the damage counter ticking up again. We've now cleared 40,000 damage. Another volley in. Now each of these HE shells being fired by Sind can do a maximum potential damage of 1,900 each, and each shell carries an 8% chance to also start a fire. While technically the AP shells do more damage overall at 2,500 damage at maximum, there is almost no reason to actually fire them, at least not on a ship like the Koenig. They simply lack the penetration required to actually be able to get through the Koenig's armor in the first place. You will be able to punch holes in the superstructure and do superficial damage, but honestly at this point the HE is far superior. And unfortunately things just got really, really busy for Sind in a real hurry. The Svetlana has been sunk, which means Sind is now the closest thing to that Koenig, and it's got nothing else to shoot at this point. Quick to realise this, Sind drops all of his torpedoes directly at the Koenig and then begins to turn towards the ship. While this may seem a little strange, turning towards the ship immediately thins his profile to the Koenig, making it harder for its main guns and its secondaries to hit, allowing him to survive long enough for those torpedoes to sink home, and there is his third kill for the match, bringing his current damage up to 64,000 in total. And we ain't done yet. So, the enemy team currently has 6 ships remaining, 1 destroyer, 3 battleships, and 2 aircraft carriers. 2 aircraft carriers that are likely to be hidden somewhere in the vicinity of J6. This is almost universally where they're hidden on this map. With 3 battleships remaining the core of the enemy force, really the most dangerous ship to Sind at this point is that enemy destroyer. And unfortunately, nobody actually knows where that destroyer is. It hasn't been detected at any point during this entire match. Up until right now, and it's a Mitsuki. So the Mitsuki appears to be leaving the zone at this point, although it has just dropped a load of torpedoes, and the Iron Duke appears to be the only ship in the cap zone at the moment that is actually challenging for it. So right now, Sind, fully aware that the Mitsuki is the most dangerous ship to him, he needs to eliminate this one first. As soon as he does that, he has free reign to engage all the other ships with torpedoes at will. He's going for that Mitsuki first. However, if he can happen to ninja in a little bit of extra damage and maybe pick himself up an extra kill on that Iron Duke in the process, so much the better. So one volley onto the Iron Duke, impact, but the Iron Duke was taken out before the shells landed home. Unfortunately, not really any damage, and no kill for Sind. But that Mitsuki is still hiding directly ahead of us at this point, and there is still 2 aircraft carriers unaccounted for. 2 aircraft carriers that are likely to be right in front of us at this point. And there we can see the torpedo bombers launching. One of the carriers is over near the cliffs, and there we go, we have the Bogue visible. Now for a split second here, it appeared like Sind was considering actually sitting in the cap zone and just capping it out. But then suddenly one of the aircraft carrier's aircraft manages to detect him. At this point he is now visible, the Mitsuki can see him, as can the aircraft carriers and the Wyoming that's over there. No point in hiding, no point in staying in the cap circle at this point. Everybody is about to start firing at you. Start burning down these carriers. And Sind wastes no time here, immediately starting to pump HE straight into the closest carrier, the Hosho. There's already a volley of torpedoes heading in towards it from a allied carrier as well, so additional damage coming through. The important trick here is to try and set the deck of the carriers on fire. Unless the captains of the carriers are skilled for it, this will prevent the deployment and recovery of aircraft, effectively turning the carrier off. But of course the carriers are aware that this is what Sind is trying to do, and dive bomber squadrons are currently dropping directly on his location. So he has taken a little bit of damage here, and they are trying to take him out as quickly as possible. And there we go, Confederate metal is in for Sind at this point, and there is a fire on the deck, 3 fires on the deck, explosions in, the carrier is burning down, and it is out. No kill for Sind, unfortunately, but he took 16,000 damage out of that carrier before it went down, and in comes the Mitsuki, and it's coming in to try and avenge its fallen carrier and save the second carrier, because at this point, if the enemy team wants any chance of turning this around, they have to stop Sind, they have to remove him from the battle, and they need to save that Bogue at the same time. Sind quickly realizes that the more nimble Mitsuki is coming in to do a torpedo drop that he's probably not going to be able to avoid at this range, and immediately dumps all of his torpedoes over the side. There's the Mitsuki's drop, and unfortunately Sind couldn't make it through, but his first hit of torpedoes lands home, takes the Mitsuki out. The second volley goes straight through, and boom! There goes the carrier. And with that, Sind finishes off this battle with Devastating Strike, Kraken Unleashed, Double Strike, and It's Just a Flesh Wound. And while not the final kill of this battle, it did leave the enemy team with just the Wyoming remaining as its final ship. At this point, there was pretty much no chance to turn it around. It was just a matter of how long it would take for the Wyoming to finally be eliminated. And with a carrier floating around that's looking for that little bit of extra damage before completion, it wasn't going to take that long. So for the results of this battle, Sind comes in with 101,483 damage out of a tier 5 destroyer, 132 cannon hits, 4 torpedo hits, 1 aircraft shot down, 3 incapacitations, 5 kills for the Kraken Unleashed, 7 fires and 3 cases of flooding, paying out 335,510 credits plus 6,502 experience points. This of course nets Sind a easy first place on the team with a base experience of 1,548, and a very important lesson for anybody who considers destroyers' guns to not be overly dangerous. Sind's main batteries and HE shells actually did the majority of the work this battle, with 45,501 damage in total done by the main batteries to only 38,491 damage done by the torpedoes. The remaining damage of 17,491 was actually split between the fires and floodings. So an absolute killer round there for Sind, and I'd like to thank him very much for sending this in. This was fantastic to watch, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching it as much as I did. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, remember to check out my sponsor Audible in the video description down below, along with links to my Patreon if you would like to help support the channel directly. Don't forget to click that like button, subscribe if you haven't already and would like to see more on the channel, and as always, take care.